you should, yeah?
I'll wait a couple minutes. I'll not lose people.
Are you a little bit close, Tia? Will you be able to see my arms?
That's fine.
Yeah.
I have to do that all the time.
Maybe you can go back just a little bit more. Wait, let me see if I can move. I can move back a little bit too. Yeah. Yeah.
Just cuts off your wrist, but if you're twisting wrists and stuff, I can just go on one. Right. Like this.
We're getting ready for our chair yoga class in 3 minutes. Just showing you the view.
Does anyone have a phone? Do you have a phone that you can check on the page? Did Carter send you a text?
You have low battery? Yeah, I'll get my You really are going to use that on your thigh?
There's no Wi-Fi here though.
You got all the toys, huh? Will?
I've been buying.
I texted Macaulay.
Seems to be working. We have 2 minutes until the chair yoga class starts. We even have 11 people watching so far.
Really?
12.
That's awesome. Oh.
Thanks, guys.
I've been waiting to do this.
Social.
I need your Facebook.
Will, get farther away.
Where we got it?
Am I unplugging for Will? Or
Nah.
nice.
Get it. Hey, on you.
How much time we got?
15 seconds. I'll go back to the view for a little bit.
Barbara Shale is watching. So is Krista. Wave hi. Hi, Barb.
Carter and Denver are watching.
What's the time?
It's 2:15.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Impossible Today. We are here today to do chair yoga with Natalie Morales, our favorite yoga instructor. I hope everybody is home and safe. We find ourselves in very trying times, so we're doing this so you guys can get an opportunity to do some yoga, relax a little bit, and center yourselves, and also take advantage of this beautiful view. It's a gorgeous day. So that being said, here we go. We're going to start start our yoga class with Natalie.
Thanks, Captain.
Of all, thank you to Captain Will for getting us here on the bay safely as usual. Thank you to our first mate, Paulina. Thank you to Dharma Studio for the yoga class. Thank you to the Woody Foundation for sponsoring the yoga class. And special thanks to our Admiral, Deborah Mellon. In fact, the only way that this experience of being out here on the bay, on this gorgeous boat, could be even more beautiful would be if Deborah were here with us. But she's here in spirit. She's certainly watching virtually, as many of you are. And as Captain Will said, yeah, these are trying times. But something that's comforting is just to know that, as usual, we're all in this together. So before we start the yoga class, I'm going to remind you of what I always remind you of. And that is that I'm going to be your guide, not your boss. And we're going to be moving gently in a way that helps us celebrate the joy of movement. So if anything is uncomfortable, you just don't do it. It's totally fine. In fact, our recommendation is always that if something is uncomfortable, that you do it in your imagination. And those of you who happen to be living in wheelchairs, you understand this much more than those of us who don't live in wheelchairs. You understand and have more experience using the power of imagination and using mental power and focus, because quite frankly, a lot of us who can just move freely lose track of that fact. And in these trying times when we're trying to practice social distancing, it's all the more important that we figure out how we're feeling physically and to acknowledge that the world isn't merely physical, that the movements that we make are things that cause repercussions deep within our presence, deep within the body, elsewhere on a non-physical realm. So yes, we'll be doing physical moves, but really the most important thing to focus on is what's going on in your inner world, how you're reacting to your own breath, and we're going to be moving precisely to our own breath. So that means that you're all going to be moving uniquely at your own rhythm. And the nice thing about moving to the breath's rhythm is that it has a way of slowing us down, helping to slow us down, and also to calm the nervous system. And if it's true that these Hatha Yoga moves were designed to help us feel physically enough strong in the body and to feel supple enough to sit still and meditate, then if you can already sit still and meditate, you don't need to do these moves. But we'll be doing them together, and as usual, you'll do them in your own unique way. And when we focus on the rhythm of the breath, really we're also giving ourselves a chance to work on our powers of concentration. Because if we find ourselves, if you notice that you're not moving to the breath's rhythm, then notice what you're thinking. Notice what's going on in your inner world, and then just keep going. Pick up the breath again. Start moving to the breath's rhythm. And it becomes a little more obvious when the mind is wandering. So if we can hold those acts of concentration out, we are working toward a meditation practice. And it's becoming more and more apparent that there are benefits to that. So we'll start as we normally start, and that is by observing the breath. So today we have this beautiful setting, more beautiful than usual. So our assistants, our filming assistants, Tia and Paulina, will be panning out to give you a chance to see this amazing view while practicing social distancing, of course. So, as usual, we're going to start by observing the breath. So make sure that you're sitting comfortably, please. And we're going to use our hands. We're going to spread out the fingers, cover as much territory as possible on the body itself. So put your hands wherever they'll go on your torso, maybe at the abdomen, maybe at the chest, and take your arms, your elbows, your upper arms, and kind of squeeze them in a little bit just to give you some more contact. And then you're going to start to breathe deeply and fully. And you're going to notice with your hands placed like this how you're breathing. So if it helps you to close your eyes, close your eyes. With this view, it's really hard to close the eyes. But essentially, you'll tune into the fact that on every inhale, your body is expanding. And then with every exhale, your body is deflating. Maybe you'll feel it in the abdomen. Maybe you'll feel it in the middle of the torso. Maybe you'll feel it in the chest. See if you can drop the breath down low into the lower abdomen. And see if you can expand the breath out laterally, down low toward the hips and up toward the armpits, up to the shoulders. And even do this in the back of the body so that you're feeling your body expand back behind you. You feel the rib cage open and visualize the lungs opening as well. So do that for the next several breaths. Follow your own breath. If you can make it a little bit more audible, it'll be easier to follow. So just do that. Notice your own breath for the next few rounds. And maybe you can make your breath a little deeper. Maybe you can make your breath a little more expansive. Exaggerate the breath a little bit. Imagine that the lungs completely fill your torso. They don't, in fact, but think of it like that anyway. And now we'll start to do a simple move matching the rhythm of the breath. So you start with your hands on your lap somehow, and then on the next breath in, you're going to stretch your arms out in front, and then on the breath out, you're going to bring the arms down. Really simple. So just go like that for the next few rounds of breath. Inhaling, reaching out in front of you, and exhaling, bring the arms down. So we often start the class like this. First, we're just establishing the rhythm of the breath. And don't worry if one arm goes higher than the other, if one straightens more than the other. It doesn't matter. You do it in your own unique way. And if you can, you start to lift them a little bit higher. So maybe they start to lift up toward the sky, little by little. And as you do this, really freely let your lungs expand. And it's too bad that we are having to do this while practicing social distancing. Because normally we have many of our friends in wheelchairs on the boat with us. That's what this catamaran was designed for. I think we've had about 12 of our friends simultaneously, 12 friends in wheelchairs on the deck of this boat. It's a one-of-a-kind vessel. Let's do like 3 more breaths like that, reaching forward, maybe up, and bringing the arm down. Do that twice more. And then do that one more time. Reach up. And then as you exhale, bring the arms down. So for a lot of the class, we're going to be moving like that to the breath's rhythm. It's not about being fancy or showy. It's really about tuning in to your own breath's rhythm. Now we're just going to do the head and the neck. So as you take your next inhale, you're going to lift your head up. And on the exhale, you're going to bring your head down. And like most of our moves, they might start, small. And as we continue to repeat the movement, our range of motion might change. So just keep on doing that and add the eyes. So a lot of times we don't think about moving the eyes, but of course they move with muscle as well. So just keep on doing that. And as you inhale, you lift your chin, you lift your head, you lift your face, you lift your eyes. And as you exhale, you bring your head down. So do that several times more. And I want to point out that every time I lift my head on the Impossible Dream, I see an 85-foot mast, which is pretty cool. I don't know what you see, but that's what we see here. Let's do that 3 times more. Inhaling and exhaling. So the hard part about these moves is to really go to your breath's rhythm. And then let's do that one more time. We're going to lift the head up as you breathe in. You're going to drop the head down as you breathe out. And then we're going to lift the head into neutral. And now we're going to keep on going, moving down the body. Now we're to the shoulders. So let your arms relax at your sides. And we're just going to move the shoulders for the next few rounds. So as you inhale, the shoulders lift up towards your ears. And then as you exhale, you bring the shoulders down. Okay, a simple move. And again, most of us are asymmetrical. Do that a few more times. And of course, it's hard to move just individual parts of the body because it's all attached. So as you lift your shoulders, of course your arms are going to float up. And as you drop your shoulders, your arms are going to move down. So keep on doing that. We're going to start to make circles now. And we're going to go in one direction for a few rounds. So as you inhale, lift the shoulders up, bring the shoulders back. And as you exhale, bring the shoulders down and forward again. Okay, so keep on going. Whatever direction you're going with the arms, just keep on going in that same direction. And of course, as you do this, it's going to be more than just the shoulders and the arms moving. Your rib cage is going to start to move. Right? So any way that you make these moves unique, remember, that's about you making it unique. It's never going to be punishable. So you just do it in your own way. And here, out here on the bay, and out here on this boat, we have this constant breeze, which is lovely. And a lot of people in the world don't have such fresh air. And the breeze itself is a reminder of the breath. So we've got that going for us. Now, whatever direction you've been going, start to go the opposite direction. So the shoulders lift up, they go forward, they go down and back, and just keep on doing that, whatever your personal opposite is. And let the breath deepen. Let it stay deep. So the assignment really is to be moving with the breath's rhythm. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to make the move a little more obvious by adding the arms. So you're going to take your fingers and you're going to put them on your own shoulders. And you're going to start to make the circles. This time the elbows and the forearms are going to be moving a little more noticeably. So same kind of thing. So your shoulders move, but the elbows move. Let your torso feel long. So in a lot of Hatha yoga exercises, we are trying to balance out complementary actions or opposing principles. So right here, we're breathing deeply enough that the upper body should feel lighter and lighter, that the torso is kind of getting more buoyant as the lungs fill a little more completely. Start to go in the opposite directions now. But in contrast or in complement to that lifting of the upper body, we have the rooting of the lower body. So the pelvis, the legs are staying in place. Remain aware of the moves that you're making. Now, we're going to bring the arms down. And we're going to keep on going with this idea of moving the hands and arms by bringing the hands together and then rubbing them into each other. Everything okay, Captain? So keep pressing the hands into each other with a lot of energy so that you feel it not just in the hands, but you feel it in the forearms, you feel it in the upper arms, you feel it in the muscles of the chest and the upper back. And then you're going to squeeze one hand with the other, so that you're using the muscles in the hands and the forearms. And we're making special use of this opposable thumb. So a lot of us these days are spending time with all of our pets who are also our friends, and they don't have this opposable thumb. Unless some of you have monkeys as pets, and probably. So make good use of the thumbs as you do this. We're going to start to massage the forearm. So go from the wrist all the way up to the elbow, with enough effort that you feel the massage. And then switch and do the other side. And even as we're doing these moves, even if I'm not cueing you about the breath, just, of course you're going to keep breathing because that's what we're designed to do. But most of us don't have a habit of breathing consciously all the time. So that's what we're suggesting, is that you breathe consciously. And that way we're going to occupy our mind with the activity of breathing instead of all these other things that we've been concerned about or that we will continue to be concerned about for some time. But for right now, this is about us doing our chair yoga class in the bay on the impossible dream. Let's keep going with this idea of using the arms. This exercise was brought to our attention from our friend Robert Howell. You know him as Wheelie One-Locks. So he suggested this. Take the fingers, separate them as much as you can, and press the tips of the fingers together. Bring your elbows out to the sides as best you can, and then start to press your hands into each other. So you're using those muscles of the hands. You're cupping the fingertips together, cupping the center of the palms away, and try to have your elbows parallel to each other. And then keep with that pressure. So you're using the arms, the power of the arms, all the way up to the chest and up to the upper back. And take some deep breaths and visualize the breath really expanding the torso three-dimensionally, front, sides, and back. And then keep that pressure and then start to glue your fingers together, separating the fingers as much as you can. And then we're going to start to move or rotate the hands. So the fingertips are kind of aiming up, and then tilt the hands so the fingertips are aiming forward and then back and towards you. So keep on doing that same move, but do it with the breath. So that's what makes it chair yoga. So we're trying to match the movement to the breath. So however it makes sense for you to breathe during this move, you do that. So you decide. But keep the pressure constant. So it's like you're creating a suction cup in the center of your palms. Do that 5 times more for 5 more rounds of breath. Notice if your fingers are starting to curl, if the fingers are becoming kind of unglued away from each other. So the assignment is pretty simple: to move with the breath and to remain aware of what we're doing. Now we're going to take the hands away from each other and we're going to shake them out. Shake out the hands, shake out the forearms. And then once you bring the hands into stillness again, just let them rest on your lap and notice if you have any kind of sensation in the fingers of the hands. Just a sign that you're alive, that we're alive. We're all in this together. Now let's take the hands. We're going to use them again. We're going to press them into each other, but this time we're going to interlace the fingers. So it's true, a lot of our friends in wheelchairs have difficulty interlacing the fingers. So when it comes to a move like this, we would make a fist with one hand and hold on with the other, right? So everyone's going to do it in their own way. But once again, we're going to start to move with the breath's rhythm. So however you have your hands together, as you inhale, stretch them out in front of you. Arms go straight as you can. And then as you exhale, you bend the elbows so the hands come toward your chest. And you just keep on doing that back and forth with the breath. So that's the hard part, really, is to make it match the breath. And again, it's not that interesting to watch me do it. Too bad for all this social distancing, because it would be nice to be able to watch other people do it. Now, if you have your fingers interlaced and you can turn your palms away, do that, and you'll get a much needed stretch in the palms, in the wrists, in the forearms. Just keep on doing that to the breath's rhythm. And now some of you would like to lift your arms up, right? So whatever you decide, if you want to lift your arms up or if you want to keep stretching your arms out in front of you, it's up to you. Again, everyone does it in their own way. The palms might face away, they might face forward, whatever. Again, this class, this chair yoga class, any kind of adaptive exercise or adaptive endeavor is about finding the joy in movement and celebrating what we all have in common. And it's always true that we're all in this together, but today, as a universal community, we're really experiencing something that's going to bring us together even more. So now we're going to take the hands, we're going to turn them toward the chest. Now whether you're holding one hand with the other or whether you have your fingers interlaced, I want you to switch now. So whatever hand you had held, if you can, you switch. If you had your fingers interlaced, do the opposite one in the front. And now imagine that you have a shield in front of your heart. And maybe you do. We're going to polish it, okay? So imagine that you're polishing it, so you're going to make a circle or an oval or whatever shape you can. And do it with your breath's rhythm, not anyone else's breath's rhythm. And let your rib cage start to move now as you do this. So you're not just kind of like, just moving the hands around. Try to be really precise about and methodical about how much of that shield you're polishing. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, that's fine. You're polishing the edges of the shield. What about the center? Okay, the center. Start on one side and go up and down. And here's where a lot of people make Karate Kid jokes about wax on, wax off, right? So think about that. So use a little bit of resistance. So you're pulling with you're kind of pulling your hands apart, but you're squeezing with your fingers. Just keep your breath steady. And then bring your hands back to neutral. Now we're going to lift the arms up. So lift the arms so that the hands are just hovering over your head. And imagine you have a halo. And maybe you do. And we're going to start to polish the halo now, right? So we start to make circles. And as you do this, of course, your rib cage is going to start to move. Like I mentioned before, we really can't make that many isolated movements because everything is connected. So whatever way that you're making those circles now, go the opposite way. Keep the breath steady. Thank you, Lucy, for joining us. And then we're going to come back to neutral, and we're going to bring the arms down. Now, I know at this point David Collins is going to have a question, but I'm going to say, David, just hold on to that question. We'll answer after class. Now, we're going to do a little bit of twisting. We're going to take the hands onto the torso. We're going to take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, you turn to the side. And then as you inhale, you come back to the center. What a view, huh? And then as you exhale, you turn to the other side. Okay, keep on doing that back and forth. So really, we're using the core muscles now. You just go back and forth with the breath. We're not concerned about how far we turn. And yes, we're turning the head and neck, but really try to use the torso. So use the muscles in the core of the body to make that move. Now, if we really have to turn around and see what's going on behind us, most of us are not going to limit it just to moving the eyes, moving the head. We're going to use the arms a little bit, if you can. So you hold on, you turn. You come back to center on the inhale. And then on the exhale, you hold on and you turn, you look the other way. So, back and forth. So, if you can do it just with your eyes, you do it with your eyes. If you can do it by turning your head and neck, you do it that way. If you can involve the shoulders more of the body, do that. If you can use your arms, you do that. It's nice because everywhere I turn, I have an awesome view. Miami is gorgeous. Thank you, Miami. Now we're going to turn. So you pick a way to turn and you stay there. Whatever way you turn, you stay there. So the lower body is rooted and strong, stable, grounded. The upper body is turning. So you're holding on with your hands however you can. You turn your head and you look at whatever view you can. And we're going to take some deep breaths there. And notice how much your torso moves with the breath. So that's why we start with that simple exercise where we have the hands on the front of the body. We're tuning into the breath. Notice it now. Deepen the breath if you can. So you make each breath a little bit longer, take in a little more air, and visualize it. Visualize it really filling the bottom of the lungs, even the low abdomen, the low back. Everybody take 3 more breaths here on this side. Take 1 more nice deep breath here. And then as you exhale, you turn, you face forward, and then we're going to do the same thing to the other side, of course. So you turn the other way. Look at that, the view is just as good on this side. And you hold like that. This side is different. It's going to behave differently. We're all asymmetrical. Same idea. Lower body rooted, upper body turning. And when we twist, of course, we constrict the rib cage a little bit, constrict the lungs. So it becomes even more obvious when we breathe. It becomes more obvious that the inhale is an expansion and that the exhale is a contraction. So notice that and take several more breaths like that. We're going to take 2 more breaths here. That was a big fish. And now we're going to turn back to face forward. Okay, so we're going to keep on going with this idea of moving with the breath, but I want to introduce another kind of move that's going to match the breath, and it's going to involve arching and rounding the spine. So earlier we started by lifting and lowering the head, so we're going to do that same move, but we're going to add to it the shoulder girdle. We're going to add to it movement of the rib cage, which involves movement in the core of the body and also the pelvis if possible. So in this next exercise, it might be helpful to visualize yourself as having a long tail. And Margarita loves it when we talk about this. So imagine yourself with a long tail, and when you lift your head and look up, we're going to arch the back so that, imagine it, arching the back, lifting the chest forward, bringing the waistline forward, tilting the pelvis, so that long tail would kind of touch the back of the head. And the opposite will be true on the exhale. So if you had that long tail, we round the back, we drop the head, we cave in the front of the body, we tilt the pelvis, and you'd imagine that tail coming forward and coming towards your forehead, right? So I'll turn a little bit to the side just so that you can see what I mean. So on the inhale, it's going to look like this. We're going to lift the head and we're going to arch so that the shoulders go back, chest comes forward, waistline comes forward, and then that imaginary tail would be arcing and reaching for the back of the head. And then the opposite, the complement. We round the back, chin to the chest, so you feel your whole body cave in, and that imaginary tail would come towards your forehead. Okay? So, and everyone's going to do this differently, of course. So you go with your own breath rhythm. You take your hands and you rest them however it's comfortable, on your lap, whatever. So as you breathe in, as you make your inhale, you lift your head, but this time you open up the collarbone, shoulders back, chest forward, looking up. And then as you exhale, you drop the head, you round the back belly button in. So just keep on doing that. Inhaling, arching, and exhaling, rounding. So like a lot of the moves that we've already done, you just keep on doing them and the range of motion will most likely increase. So you keep on doing that move and notice that when you inhale, the shoulder blades move toward each other, toward the spine. And when you exhale and you round the upper back, the shoulder blades move away from the spine. So involve as much as you can. As you inhale, you're lengthening the front of the body. As you exhale, you're rounding, you're compressing the front of the body. So think about that. As you inhale, you lift the heart. And on the exhale, you protect the heart. You cave it in. You lengthen the back of the body. And then just keep on doing that for a few rounds more. Just keep on going to your own breath's rhythm. And if the view of the bay inspires you, you're not alone. And now we're going to put a few of these things together, right? So we're going to be doing a little bit of a twist, and then we're going to hold the twist by using the arms as much as we can to help stabilize our position. And then we're going to be adding the arching and the rounding, right? And you'll notice that it's going to affect the muscles and the body in a different way, right? So Take your pick, whatever side you want to start on. Start with a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, you turn to the side, right? Whatever side. We're going to stay here for a few rounds. So you hold on with your hands wherever you can reach, right? Leg, chair, wheel of the chair, back of the chair, whatever. And then from here, you hold your body, your upper body, in that angle. And then as you inhale, you lift your head. You try to arch the upper back a little. And then as you exhale, you drop your head and you round the back. And it feels quite different, you'll notice. So deep breath in, lift the heart, looking up. And then exhale, round the back. So keep on doing that back and forth. So we're just combining a few moves that we've already done. Let's say we do that about 5 times more. You really go into the sensation of the breath. Get creative. So we're involving the core of the body, the abdomen, the pelvis if you can. We're getting the blood moving. And we're moving more than the blood, the lymph as well. Giving the organs a little massage as we do this move. Let's come back to center. Turn around to face forward. And of course, as you've seen the pattern, we're going to do the same thing to the other side, but it's going to feel different on the other side, of course. So we're going to turn, we're going to hold on with the hands. Let your arms and your hands kind of brace you in this move, in this position of the upper body. And then like before, we lift the head, we look up, shoulders back. And then exhale, you round. And just keep on doing that. And I hope that wherever you are, you have a view comparable to this, in addition to having this view that we're bringing you from on deck. And I hope that wherever you are, as you're doing this move, that you have some fresh air and some breeze like we have out here. 3 times more. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. 2 more. Inhale, arch, looking up. Exhale, round. And then last one, inhale, arch, looking up. And then exhale, round. And then we come back to center. And once again, we face forward. Okay, so from here, we're going to be moving the rib cage a little bit more, right? So, of course, what we're trying to do is honor the different ways that the spine moves. Of course, the spine can arch and it can round. We can turn. We can twist. Now we're going to get a little bit of lateral moves. So you're going to let your arms come to your sides however is comfortable for you. So I'm sitting in this director's chair here, so my forearms are resting here. Many of you are going to be resting your forearms on your wheels. Everyone's got a different setup, right? And everyone's going to do this in their own way. And once again, we're going to be combining the stability of the lower body with movement of the upper body. So if you can stand up, you can stand up, you can separate your feet a little bit, and you can move from side to side with the idea that we're trying to create some space in the rib cage, right? So however your arms go, take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, you let your head fall to one side and you bow one side of your rib cage open. And then as you inhale, you come back to the center. And as you may have guessed, on the exhale, the head goes the other way and we bow the other way, okay? So go back and forth. And I'm not saying lean to the side, because if you say lean, it gives the impression that the whole structure tips, right? So really, it's more like we're bowing open one side of the rib cage as the other side compresses. So some of you might want to use your arms. So you can do it like this, lifting one elbow up, lifting the other elbow up. Right? So everybody's going to do it in their own way. So some of you might even like to do it like this with your hands behind your head, right? So go back and forth. So we're working on those oblique muscles. We're working on a lot of the muscles in the torso. And a lot of times when you mention yoga to someone, they start talking about stretching their hamstrings. When really, let's be realistic. The rib cage is one of the tightest parts of the whole body for everyone. Just consider its shape and the task it has to protect all those organs. It's a lot of opportunity for tightness. Go back and forth like that. And it's important that you go to your own breath's rhythm, so we're not concerned about how anyone else is moving. So we're going to do that like 5 times more each side. Just go with your breath's rhythm. So one more round. And then we're going to come back to neutral, and we're going to just sit up nice and tall. So you make your arms comfortable. You let them rest. You let your hands rest in your lap, and just take a few deep breaths. A lot of times at this point we ask you to close your eyes. With a view like this, it's hard. And as you take those deep breaths, fill the lungs from the bottom to the middle to the top, not just in the front of the body, but in the back of the body, 3-dimensionally, taking advantage of this fresh air we have. And then we're going to keep on going, right? So, once again, we're going to combine some movements. So we're going to combine a twist, right? So once again, you're going to use your hands, you're going to use the core of the body to help turn your upper body in a twist, right? And then from here, we're going to move the head and neck, right? So the rest of the rib cage is going to stay pretty still, right? And we're going to use the eyes as well. So hopefully you have something beautiful to train your eyes on. We have sky, sun, clouds, and that 85-foot mass that it's always worth repeating is hovering over us. So you're going to turn, you're going to keep your body in that position by using the power of your arms, right? And then as you inhale, you're going to lift your head up, looking up. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring your chin down toward your chest, toward your collarbone. And keep on doing that, lifting your head up, bringing your head down. And use your eyes as you do this. As you lift your head up, you're looking up. As you bring your head down, you're looking down. So do that a few times more. Head and neck, eyes. But most importantly, matching the breath. And then we're going to bring the head to stillness, and now we're going to turn the head left and right. So keep your upper body as it is, right? And everyone has a different idea of left and right, so I'll just say switch and switch so that you're not being micromanaged from afar, right? So take a deep breath, turn your head to one side. Keep your upper body like it is, and as you exhale, turn your head to the other side. Keep on doing that. Inhale, turn your head. Exhale, turn your head the other way. So really simple, and that's the idea that we're going for in this chair yoga class and all these adaptive activities. The idea that we're trying to slow things down, move to the breath's rhythm. We're not complicating anything. We're slowing down and appreciating and celebrating the joy of movement. Do that twice more. turn your head in one direction as you breathe in. Turn your head in the other direction as you breathe out. And then once more, inhale. And exhale. Now let's bring everything back to the center. The upper body back to center. The face, the head aims forward again. And just notice how it feels to have done that move to one side and not the other. So the body is full of wisdom. A lot of times we can detect when we need to balance things out. So that's what we're going to do now, as you may have guessed. We're going to use the arms to help hold the upper body to turn in the other direction, however you can. Right when we do that, we feel that the rib cage constricts a little bit, so the quality of the breath changes. Perfect opportunity to breathe a little more deeply and to breathe consciously into the back of the body. So we're going to just be moving the head and neck like we did on the other side. Have I gotten in the shade again? Okay, so from here, the upper body turns, and then on the inhale, the head lifts, and on the exhale, the head comes down. So just keep on doing that with the breath's rhythm. Keep on doing that like 3 times more. Notice how easy it is for the mind to wander. So like I mentioned, move to the breath's rhythm. So we're working on our powers of concentration, on our ability to focus on something simple. And then we're going to come back eventually to center, and we're going to sit upright, and now just notice what it feels like to be stationary again. Maybe even take the hands onto the body like we started class. And if you're leaning against the back of your chair, that'll help you get the feedback of how the back of the body is moving, how it expands and deflates as we breathe. And then we're going to come back to do the next exercise. So this is going to involve using the hands. So we've done a lot of movement for the upper body. We've done a lot of, arching, rounding, some lateral stretching. So let's do something about the circulation for the lower body, for the legs, right? So we're going to take the hands and we're going to use them to kind of press down on the thighs from the hips toward the knees. So you're kind of following the line of muscles in the front of the thighs, and press down as much as you comfortably can. So we're creating a massage sensation. And Woody himself always points out that he gets a little more sensation and a little more out of the move if he leans forward with his forearms on his thighs. So he's letting his body weight kind of assist, and like that you can kind of rock back and forth so that you can get a little more depth of massage to the thigh muscles, right? And then, of course, if you want to do something a little more intense, you can take your hands into fists and bounce them lightly on the legs. And when we do this, Arturo Mosquera always says, hey, what about those of us who are on blood thinners? So yeah, you don't want to punch yourself really hard if that applies to you. What we're trying to do is stimulate the circulation. So if that means pressing with like this with your hands, or if that means leaning forward like Woody does, or if that means kind of bouncing your hands on your legs, do that. Or just massaging with your fingers, do that for a moment. And now we're going to come to stillness again. We're going to pause. And here's where we're going to do a move that requires some physicality, and it's going to require some visualization, right? So here's where a lot of us will really notice how fine-tuned our powers of concentration are, or not, right? Because it has a lot to do with how we're focusing. So the good news is that there's no punishment if your mind starts to wander, and of course we're all in it together. So we're going to start to move the arms as you would if you were walking or running. And of course you'll notice it's not going to be a very natural move. It's not going to look very natural. So one arm is going to come out in front and the other arm is going to go out behind, and then we're going to bring the arms down, and then the other way. So it's not going to look like a natural walk. And of course, the wheels of your chair or the arms of your chair might be involved or might get in the way. So as we're doing this, just keep on going with your breath. So you decide how you want it to match your breath. On the inhale, do you want to move back? Or do you want to return to center on the inhale? It's up to you. And we're going to add to it the use of the arms. So that's going to help to stabilize the lower body and help us reach back a little bit further. So the lower body stays pretty stationary. And as you use your hand, as you use your arm, I want you to put it on the opposite leg. So you're crossing the midline of the body to touch that opposite limb. So whatever arm is behind you, the other hand is going to hold on and touch the opposite leg. So just keep on going back and forth. What we're doing now, of course, is moving to the breath's rhythm, obviously, but we're also stimulating both hemispheres of the body, of the mind, of the brain, I should say, more specifically. And slow down the movement so it really matches the breath's rhythm. And those of you who are dancers, like John Beauregard, of course, you're going to be adding your own flair to it. So just keep on going like that, back and forth. And just keep on doing that move back and forth. So you're twisting, returning to the center, twisting to the other side, returning to the center. Keep on doing that for a few more rounds of breath. And those of you who use your legs, we're going to start to lift the opposing leg. So whatever arm is reaching out behind you, that same leg is lifting a little bit. So whatever leg you're holding onto with your hand, you're lifting it up a little bit. And of course, let's face it, not everybody is using their legs, not everybody can. But if you can, you lift it up. And just keep on doing that for a few more rounds. Really trying to make the breath smooth. Not judging how you're moving, but just being honest about moving to your breath's rhythm. Slowly and eventually we're going to come back to neutral. And then here's another move. And for this, some of us might need to use like a strap. Sometimes we have a strap and we put it underneath the thigh, or behind the knee, because the next action is going to require a little flexion, or I'm going to suggest that we make a little more flexion at the hip. And so some of you are going to take your hands to the front of the knee and lift the thigh towards you, right? And some of you are going to take the hands. Actually, we've seen a lot of friends hold on to their clothing, with their hands. Or if you have a belt or something, you put it behind your thigh and you lift up. That's just a suggestion. Some of us will do it and some of us won't do it. But we're all going to be doing it together, right? And some of us are just going to be doing it with the imagination. And if you are doing it with the imagination, do it in great detail. Put as much detail into it as you can. And this is a signal of the strength of our powers of concentration. So a lot of us can talk about stretching the body, strengthening the body, toning the muscles, stretching the muscles, but very few of us are really talking about really working on the strength of our imagination and our ability to focus. And I think now with so many distractions, namely the smartphone, a lot of us are really getting in touch with how easy it is to be distracted and how hard it is to stay focused. So the next one is going to involve kind of the whole body, and we will be able to use the legs either in the imagination or by holding on, right, and pulling the leg in, or drawing the leg in. So this is going to be a seated sun salutation. So we're going to go over it slowly. The first one, each move is going to be several breaths, but then we'll go into a rhythm. And those of you who do the sun salutations without the chair, you'll recognize that what we're doing by lifting the leg up like this is to simulate that lunge, right? So we're going to start, and it's going to involve a lot of the moves that we've already done today together. So as you inhale, you're going to lift the arms up, right? You're going to lift them up. You're going to lift your gaze. You're going to look toward the sky, okay? And then on your next exhale, you're going to bring your arms down. You're going to hold on to your thighs, and you're going to round your back, belly button in, chin to the chest. So we've pretty much done this before. Then we're going to lift the torso up to neutral. Here's where we're going to simulate that lunge. You hold onto the leg. You draw the thigh in, shoulders back. Even here, you're doing a little bit of an arch, maybe looking up. And then you're going to bring the foot down. Then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to lift the arms. We're going to arch the back, look up, lift the eyes. And then we're going to bring the arms down. We're going to round the back, dropping the gaze to look down. And then, of course, we're going to do the same thing, lifting the other leg. So here's where we simulate that lunge. We give a little bit of an arch, drawing the shoulders back. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Watch out, Captain. Okay, so I'm going to get in the sun. You ready? You ready?
Ready.
Okay, all right, it's good. So you're going to take a deep breath in, lift the arms, arch the back, and then exhale, round the back, belly button in. Inhale, draw the thigh in, bring your shoulders back, look up, and then exhale, put your foot down. Same thing to the other side. So inhale, reach forward and up, arch your back. Exhale, round your back, belly button in as much as you can, chin to the chest. Inhale, the other thigh draws in, the shoulders come back. And then exhale, the foot comes down. And just keep on going. Inhale, reach up, arch back. Exhale, round the back. So we're moving the spine, we're moving to the breath's rhythm. Nothing forced. Just keep on going. Go back and forth like that. Let's do 100 rounds more. finish with a nice deep breath in, lifting the arms up. And then we're going to slowly bring the hands to the heart, and we're going to keep the hands there at the heart center. And we're going to seal the class as we always do, and that's with the exercise of gratitude. So the heart is associated with many things, archetypes, stereotypes, but it's interesting that across time we have evidence that the heart has been associated with the same things it's associated with today, no matter the culture, no matter the place. So we're talking about, of course, love and affection, those are obvious, but also patience, tolerance, compassion. And those things never go out of style. So we're going to move the arms, and I want you to add whatever symbolism, whatever metaphor works for you for this move. So as you inhale, you lift your arms up like you're gathering something, whatever. And as you exhale, you bring it into the heart. Okay, so that's the assignment for the next few rounds. Inhale, the arms lift, and exhale, the hands come to the heart. So keep on doing that a few times more, and visualize, acknowledge something, someone that you're grateful for. Visualize it or visualize them in great detail. And then the next time you bring your hands to the heart, you just keep them there. Draw the focus in. Acknowledge what it is you're grateful for. So we've spent about an hour together on the impossible dream. Thank you so much for tuning in, for logging on, and for joining us for this special virtual chair yoga class sponsored by the Woody Foundation, by Dharma Yoga Studio of Coconut Grove, and by the Impossible Dream. So thank you so much. Thank you, Captain Will. Thank you, First Mate Paulina. Thank you, Tia. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you. Namaste.